Hello there, one and all. Raziel here, and I just finished seeing It Chapter 2, It Ends. I'm not really a big horror movie person just because usually I can't find any good horror movies out there, but I will say that this is by far definitely going to be one of my top horror movies, and that doesn't even include Chapter 1, or Part 1 as they'll call it. That was a good movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see that before seeing this. But It Chapter 2 was fantastic. The one thing I will say is it's much more humorous than I expected. So if you're going for a straight up spine tingling fear, that's more than likely not going to happen to you. I will say this, there is one scene, those who know me, it got me. I honestly looked through this movie and was thinking, yeah, if I was in this universe, I'd be perfectly fine. I'd be able to take on Pennywise and do what needs to be done. Except for one part, where I literally sat there and thought, forgive my language, I would probably definitely be doing a bitch scream, but at the same time I'd be setting everything on fire, so hopefully that would rectify the screaming, but along with the comedy, there is level 12 as far as the creep factor goes. I'll say that this movie is far more creepy than it is terrifying, because Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, I don't know what it is with him and his family, but they are fantastic actors. You have his father in the MCU who does crazy well. You have his brother who went from a vampire lord and now is Tarzan, can do boss man well, and now you've got, I guess he's the little brother, who just does creepy fantastically. Because outside of Pennywise, every movie I've seen him in, he was always kind of creepy, even when he was the good guy. So I definitely give him props for that. We even see him without the Pennywise makeup for a bit, and it still gets even creepier. So good on you, Bill Skarsgård. One thing, first off, I will say, go see this movie. Obviously, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was quite a ride. Despite that it was darn near 3 hours long, it was just barely, 10 minutes short of the Avengers Endgame. That said, it wasn't a serious drag. I won't sit there and say it felt like an hour and a half, it didn't, but it felt more like your average 2-hour movie. A few small spots dragged here and there, but they're spread out very well, so they won't be that bad. One cameo I was expecting in Chapter 1 does appear in Chapter 2, and I have to give him props. Because there's a gag that's going on throughout the entire movie that I'm honestly sitting there thinking, did he make fun of himself? Because it's been a long time since I've read the book. I remember bits and pieces here. By the way, if anybody's looking for some cosmic entity, I don't think this counts as a spoiler because it's not there. There's a tease, but it's not there. But as far as the story goes, it's a fantastic follow-up for, I'm just going to say Chapter 1. That said, one thing was throwing me off. Finn Wolfhard, who played Richie, and his buddy, oh boy, I'm spacing on his name, but he played Eddie when they were kids. When they have the flashback scenes, they still look the same. I mean, I know some people think it's just de-aging CGI or whatnot. I honestly think they probably did a Lord of the Rings, where even though the movie wasn't going to come out for 2 years, they probably just kept recording and finished the movie within that same time period. Because, what is his name? The kid, space on his name, it's Jack something, but if anybody saw the DC movie Shazam, he's in there and he's much taller. So I don't think they would have shrunk him for this movie. I think they just kept recording, which I'm all for. If you're able to do it, do it. Obviously, just like most movies, if it's too long, split it in half. No big deal. As long as it's good. And in this case, it was good. The moments where there were scares, it was great anticipation and definitely a good setup. Because like I said, very creepy, but there are certain moments where there's actually 3 deaths in this movie that I actually thought were pretty sad. And In fact, if once you see the movie, let me know in the comments below which ones you felt were very sad, and I'll let you know if those are the ones I'm talking about. Because there's one in particular where it just broke my... Actually, you know what? There's two that completely broke my heart. The third one was sad, but it wasn't heartbreaking. It was just, ooh, holy crap. But as far as the movie goes, it's fantastic. Now, before I go, because this will be a short one, I'd like to talk about the actors. Because first off, we have James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain together again since Dark Phoenix, only this time it goes so much smoother. They're playing as adult Bev and adult Bill, which they have good chemistry. In fact, all the actors have good chemistry, especially the adults. The kids were fantastic, but this movie takes place 27 years after Chapter 1. And when they regroup, I thoroughly believe that this is just a group of friends getting together, goofing off, just having a good time. There are moments where even the language had me sitting there thinking, did y'all just revert back to your childhood forms? If so, I'm not hating because I'm loving what I'm seeing. Obviously, most of you are going to hear about it. Bill Hader steals the movie, just like Finn Wolfhard did as Richie. Bill is adult Richie. And I was surprised to find out how many movies I actually watched with Bill Hader in it, because I'm not going to lie, when I first saw this, I'm sitting here thinking, who is this guy? And when I looked him up, I'm thinking, well, I've seen a lot of stuff he's been in, and he does comedy and reaction very well. There's even one moment, trust me, you will know when you see it, that he goes from completely energetic and wild man and just cuts it off right at the moment. And I'm sitting here thinking, that had to have taken some time. So the props to Bill for your talent. The other characters, there's one guy, what's his name? James Ransone, where for a moment I didn't recognize him, but then I realized I saw him in the American remake of Old Boy. Other than that, I have no idea who he is, but I did like him as a character. He had me laughing. As near the beginning of the movie, you find out what everybody has been up to since the pact they made in Chapter 1. And looking at, I'm going to say Eddie, that's his character's name. Looking at what he became is freaking hilarious, and they even make jokes on it later on. Who else is there? There's... Oh, the gentleman who plays Ben. Unfortunately, I'm spacing on his name. I've never seen this guy before, but I will give him props too. He did very well. It's just, in all truth, it doesn't seem like there was really much they can do with him. So, I mean, it's a shame on his part because, you know, he probably could have done so much more. I'm not saying he was bad. It's just he didn't have much to work with. So, but still, forgivable. He was a great actor, great character, and I thoroughly supported him. You'll know what I mean when you see the movie. Who else was there? There was see, Bill, Richie, Bev. Oh! Mike. So, this one actually took me for a loop. So, as I was watching the movie, the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, you look familiar, but I just can't place it. And then I sat and I watched the credits and realized that the dude was Isaiah Mustafa. Now, some of y'all might actually remember that name might ring a bell. And you're wondering why? Here's a hint.
Hello, ladies. Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me.
Yes. So I did not know the Old Spice guy went into acting. And sure enough, by doing the research, I found out he's in another show that I was watching, Shadowhunters, which I need to get back in. I've only seen 3 episodes, beside the point. He does very well. I don't think he let himself go a bit. I think they just put baggy clothes on him to make him look like, not like a slob or nothing. It's just, he's playing a character who's, you know, been traumatized as a child and has tried to live his life. So, he didn't let himself go as opposed to just, he lived a normal life. The Old Spice guy didn't live a normal life. So, I think they just put clothes on him to make him look slightly frumpy, but still fantastic. I felt really bad for him. And again, once you see the movie, you'll understand why, because you think you went through all this. Dang. But ladies, as you're watching this movie, every time you see Mike saying some random things, try not to hear this in your head.
Swan dive into the best night of your life.
Let me know if you can. Comment below. As far as anything else, there's nothing else I can really say without spoiling anything. One thing I will play with, because it's not in the movie, it was my own thought. It would have been wonderful to have Tim Curry. Anybody who didn't see the original miniseries of It, Tim Curry played Pennywise. And for me, Tim Curry is one of the greatest actors in the world. One of the people who, if I met, I'd probably lose my mind. But it would have been funny to have him in this movie, even as a short cameo, have him die by Pennywise and make some crack about how, you know, he knows better clowns, or he was one. Just whatever. That was just a fun little gripe for myself. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. One more thing I will say, it's not necessarily a spoiler, it's just my thought. The second creepiest Pomeranian I've ever seen since Blade Trinity. If anybody's seen Blade Trinity, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, times that by the 25th power. It was, but I loved it. So, I hope everybody's having a wonderful week. Hope you have a fantastic weekend to come. The end of this week, Rambo Final Blood is coming out, so maybe keep an eye out for that. And I will see you all again very soon. Take care.